Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things marketing. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Martynas Fedotovas on the line, and he's the owner over at Equity Nest. Martynas, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be on. Really appreciate it.
So I'm excited to get today's topic. So we're going to get into the importance of businesses and branding themselves and why they need to be thinking about that. But before we do, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at Equity Nest. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be on, but it's kind of, you mentioned before we started this interview, it's kind of, the times are tough right now, and particular what's going on in real estate. So we provide a service that's mainly focused on real estate companies, and we work only with them because there's a lot of companies that we came across before when it comes to the marketing, and there's a lot of companies, what they do, they market, they help to brand the companies and market the companies in totally different industries. So that will be my kind of advice, when it comes to, hiring somebody. And again, I'm not pitching my story, but it's just basically make sure that the company really knows what they do and are they actually working in an industry? Are they been part of an industry? Like, people have to make sure that's happening. But when it comes to branding itself, we basically help real estate companies to market themselves and create that thought leader platform for themselves. Because in this day and age, attention is everything. Basically, attention is the new currency, right? And whoever gets the most attention, that person will eventually get the most money invested in a deals or, apartments sold or hotels, vacancy rates and all that. So basically super important because we live in an information age, right? So everybody has to be there. So we cover a lot of different social media platforms. It's about 7-8 platforms that we cover for them. And the reason is to be on multiple platforms is simply because people consume information in different ways. So let's say maybe I'm more auditory and I like to watch stuff on YouTube simply because I just don't watch TV anymore because it just became a radio kind of background noise, and I always go and consume YouTube content daily. Maybe somebody else is more auditory, so they're going to go and kind of, explore the podcast side, and they're going to just listen, podcast episodes on the way to work while they're commuting, or, at this current moment, if they're not going to work, they're just going to keep it running in the background, while they're doing some work at home. Or people, they like to go and read up some stuff. So that could be, again, the blog posts. The blog posts, so it's blog posts, doing the podcast, YouTube content, so a lot of different stuff that we offer for people, and it's just because people consume in different forms all this different information.
Do you and that's a great transition. So let's get a little bit further into the importance of why people need to consider branding and branding themselves. I mean, where do you want to start with this topic?
Yeah, first of all, branding, as I mentioned before, it's information age, first of all. So, and most second of all, it's a lot of real estate companies, and I saw basically what was going on in the real estate industry when I was a realtor myself. And but that was back in the day. Well, I'm saying back in the day, like I'm 50 years old, which I'm actually 30 right now. But like
way
back in the day,
right?
way back in the day when I was 27. So yeah, basically not long ago, I seen all these different companies. They're trying to push their marketing efforts, but what was there? There was I'm talking when I was 20. That was about 10 years ago. But we were using newspapers, just grabbing newspapers, cold calling, maybe TV ads. Maybe Facebook was around, but nobody was paying attention a lot to. There was like Instagrams and LinkedIn's, and that wasn't that important. Everybody was following kind of old school, like cold calling and, referrals, knocking on doors, all that stuff. And now when it's information age and companies are dependent, it's not anymore as should I be on social media. It's like I must be there, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So that's an issue now. Because, again, everybody's on social media. And, again, the thing that we said, not covering, but I think it's very important to talk about that, like with the COVID, what's going on currently. particularly now when companies in real estate space, when they're trying to raise capital for the deals, if it's a syndication, syndication business, if they're looking to sell, houses, if the person is realtor, if they're looking to get the occupancy higher, maybe they're having a hotel or, apartment complex, whatever that might be, these people need to get people attention. And how are you going to do that? When everybody's sitting at home, everybody's fearful, they're thinking, oh my God, there's 30 million, people unemployed, whatever's happening all over the world. And, the news is just constantly spreading this negative thing. Somebody has to pierce through with the right positive message so it will grab people attention and say, hey, listen, it's actually not that bad as it looks like. It is bad, but, look what we're doing. We're still expanding in the market. We're still doing deals. We're still active. Nobody's closed doors. Like, we're running the business and even more active. Because, look, if you're going to portray that message on social media, even though the business is suffering, and that's the part where people say fake it till you make it, even if you're going to portray the message like post every day constantly multiple times on different platforms, people will still see you as this, this company is actually doing well. Because people are not going to see you on a TV because nobody else is watching TV anymore. People are actually sitting, on a couch. There's a family. They have a Netflix on, and everybody's watching the phones. Everybody's just scrolling on the phones. So that's what's happening, and that's why it's so important right now and moving forward to brands. Because everybody who is listening to this podcast right now, think about one big company, or it could be a small company. So why did you think about that company? It's simply because you've seen that company somewhere, maybe in the past 24 hours. And that's what attention does. And that's what you need to do as well. You need to be on people's minds all the time. Not the COVID, not the recession, not the unemployment. It's still bad. Like, we need to solve this problem, but we need to solve the problem, in this way. Like, okay, look, things can get worse, but things can get better. So, so it's basically just grabbing that attention. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big topic, and I know we just have 15 minutes, but I hope I covered some. So.
No, definitely. Where do you find, and I know this will vary from person to person, company to company, experience to experience, but where do you find you see a lot of people going wrong in their branding? Like, what kind of things are like some things that they should be staying away from?
Oh, first of all, it's overthinking. So no doubt it's overthinking, because I get so many people who reached out to me and asking, like, what do you think about this podcast platform versus another podcast platform? What do you think? Should we do this? Should we do that? Instead of actually taking all this miscalculated action. Because if you're looking to do yourself, because I had multiple conversations, like I spoke with 2 clients today, potential clients that we're going to be starting to work with them as well. And I said to them, like, listen, like, I got so many people coming to me asking for advice, and that's what I give, for people, again, people who want to, like, who's listening that, you want to reach me out at the end, we're going to give a social media link so you can connect with me. I'm always open to give people advice, like how you can work things up instead of thinking, oh my God, should I do this? Should I do that? Look, it's very simple. Just take action, because it's going to be the biggest mistake that you're going to do is not taking one. So there is no difference between Libsyn, Anchor, Podbean, the different platforms, how many times you should post, what the description should be. Should I add an intro or should I not add an intro? That's completely different topics we're talking about. And we can go into details with people who want to get in contact with me, should you or should you not? But it's just a problem that people thinking about too much. They think it's so complicated, which at some point it is. And that's why we provide the service, because it's sometimes for some people it just sounds like it's too much, which it is. But what's the price of you not branding? What's the price for you not pushing your marketing efforts in a space, basically, and not grabbing people's attention? People say, oh my God, I have to buy the service and it costs the X amount of money. So what's the price if you're not going to buy and people not going to know you? What's the return on that? So people need to think about it, and people need to start making action, because now the time should not be an excuse, because everybody have a time now, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. So Martynas, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on Equity Nest, or they want to connect with you and your team, what's the best way for them to follow up?
Yeah, sure. They can reach me out on Facebook at Martynas Fedotovas. They can, that probably is going to be the best way, because, I just love, connecting with people. It's not all the business. Like, I'm not going to give you my business, website. You can go and check it out, but what's it going to do for you? like we're looking to solve the problems for people who are having this problem, not having the brand, not marketing themselves. So the best way is just to connect with me on a personal level, through my personal Facebook page.
Fantastic. Well, Martina, it's been great having you on the show today. Appreciate you giving us some tips on why people need to consider really seriously their branding and how to do that. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. I mean, love to know what kind of things and projects you're working on. And Martina, thanks again for coming on the show.